This is Chris Yeagle with Diligent Plans. I want to share a story with you that was my story, or a story that I was a part of in the last decade or so. And I think it's going to illustrate a great leadership point. First of all, let me give you a little bit of a background. Most of you know that I was, in my former life, a military police officer in the Army, rose to the rank of captain. You know, in police work, what I learned was that the hardest part of an investigation is to see things from the first person's point of view. So the first person would be the perpetrator, the person that commits the crime. And as investigators, the hardest thing to do is try to put yourself in their lens or see things through their eyes. Why is that? Because A, they don't tell you, and B, they're lying, and you know, it's a cover-up and everything else. It's hard to get that perspective. So many investigations rely on second and third person information and evidence, right? So the goal is to get to that first person. Now keep that in mind. Let me tell you this story. A few years back, I was hired to help a salesman who was on a PIP, a performance improvement plan. Basically what that means is they are one step away from getting the axe, right? They're one step away from getting fired. So I don't know why I got those types of cases, but I did. And so they brought me in, said, hey, spend half a day with this guy and see what you can do. And I said, you're paying me, right? I mean, no matter what. And they said, yeah, I'm just kidding around. But anyways, I show up, and this guy was an outside sales rep, meaning, you know, he did stuff like away from the office and went out and saw customers and stuff. So I said, hey, I'll meet you at the office, and we'll jump in your truck, and I'll just go with you for the day, and we'll talk. Is that cool? He said, yeah. So that's what we did. I met him, got in his truck. Within the first 20 minutes or so, I knew what was wrong. And I'm not bragging. It just became so apparent to me what was going on. But I still stayed for the rest of the morning in case there was something I hadn't seen. And also he was buying me lunch. So, you know, I wanted a free lunch. I'm a consultant. Anyways, so what happened was, at the end of the day, you know, I left him and I went to the supervisor's office and I told him what I had discovered. I said, listen, supervisor, you're worried about the numbers. You're worried that he's not making his goals. You're worried about pay and other things. You want to know what's important to him? I said, within the first 20 minutes, he told me a story. I asked him what he had planned for the summer. He said, well, I'm gonna try to take my family out to this water park, which is about a 8-hour drive from where we were. And he said, I can't afford to stay too many nights, so we're gonna drive out the night before, be in the park all day, and drive back that night. Now, can you imagine driving 8 hours, no sleep, spending the whole time in the park with your kids, your family, and then driving back that night? They didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to get hotels and to stay, so they had to do that. He also told me that his daughter was in cheerleading. And I have 2 daughters of my own, and their activities are expensive. All right, so he couldn't afford cheerleading. So he had to take his daughter out cheerleading. He couldn't afford the costs associated with that. So I told the supervisor, his family is important to him. His family. The money indirectly. So when you talk to him, I want you to change the way you talk to him. I want you to say, you know what? If you work just a little bit harder and I give you these resources, I think you're going to bonus this quarter. And with this bonus, you can put your daughter back into cheerleading. You can take a longer trip this summer with your family. You got to speak in terms that motivate him. You got to see things in the first person through his lens. So this is one of my best cases. What happened was the supervisor changed the way he talked to the sales rep. Within 6 months, they were on the President's Club. They went from getting fired almost to being one of the top performers, top 10% of the company, 50 plus sales reps. All he had to do was change the way he talked to them. So listen, the leadership point is, you got to see things from your subordinates, from your followers' point of view. And you should speak to them in that language. If you want to get max performance out of them and you want to support them like a caring leader should, you got to see things from their perspective. Thank you.